Welcome to Druggy Nation. We're the bridge between everything pharmacy and pop culture. And now, let's check in with your connect and America's favorite pharmacist, Emmanuel Vogirin.
Like the Lil Wayne. Yeah, like the Lil Wayne joint. You already know. All right. It's about to be a fire episode, that's why. All right. Welcome to Druggy Nation. So if you're a first-time listener, welcome to the conversation here at Druggy Nation. Round of applause for that.
Let's get it.
So as a pill poppin' nation, this is the #1 platform to talk about the role drugs play in our society and everyday lives. I'd like to say welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, America's favorite pharmacist, Emmanuel, a.k.a. Docky Cocky. And I'm here with my guest, Carlton, a.k.a. C. Say what up.
What it do, man? We out here.
All right, before we get into this, though, let me tell them a story about how we actually first met. So I had moved to Baltimore, this is 3 years back in 2016, in the summertime.
And that was 3 years ago.
That was 3 years ago, bro. That's wild, right? And I was over at the Planet getting my fitness on real quick. And then I see homeboy next to me lifting weights. His haircut looked mad OD sharp, clean, crisp. I was like, hey, man. Yo, we'll give it that cut. Okay, let me backstory though. Okay, at this point in time, I had tried like 5 different barbers in Baltimore, and they all was trash. They charged me like $50 for a weak-ass haircut. I'm like, yo, Baltimore, man, y'all gotta do better than this, man. So I'm like really like on my last legs trying to find a good barber. And I asked the dude, I'm like, yo, give me that cut. He said, yeah, my boy Carlton hooked me up. I was like, word, let me get his number. He said, bet. He gave me a number. And I think that same weekend, I hit you up. I was like, yo, bro, I'm looking for, a new barber. He's moved out here, yo. Can you hook me up this weekend for a cut? You said, yeah, come through. No doubt. I was like, I bet. So I went to your place. Now, look, at this point still, though, I had bad experiences with barbers. So when you're over to cut my hair, I'm looking at you like, if this fool messed my hair, I'm a fight about in here. You had your boys in there too and everything. I'm like, yo, we gonna fight. If you mess my hair, we gonna fight. I didn't care nothing. So long story short, he gave me a fly-ass haircut. And, it's my barber since then. So that's what it do. Carlton, the best barber in Baltimore, yo. Y'all heard it here.
Down, man. I try to get people right, man. I had to do plenty of, I call it surgery, man. I be having to get people back in order.
Yo, it's clean, man. Your cuts are clean money.
I already know, man. Appreciate it.
Of course, man. Speak the truth. All right, welcome to episode 2. Today's topic is marijuana, I want to look at marijuana in terms of medical use and also the social aspects of cannabis. So what is marijuana? Yo, Carlton, you have any preconceived thoughts on marijuana? What you heard before?
Yeah, man. So real quick, story about myself. I have actually never smoked marijuana, never tried it.
He's lying to you guys.
Nah, that's a fact. I never smoked, never drank, and none of that. But so originally, my preconceived notions on what marijuana was as a kid, especially growing up in the 90s, in America, they tell you that
Facts.
It's like one of the worst drugs in the world.
Facts. Gateway drug, right?
Gateway drug, all this other crap. And then you kind of see people smoking marijuana and it's like it didn't add up. You see the effects of what was happening to people smoking versus what they said was going to happen. It was like, it's not really the same thing.
Especially in college.
Yeah, man. And that was just everywhere. Cause I seen I grew up in Chicago. So I seen other drugs, how other drugs affected people. I've seen crackheads, heroin addicts, the real actually bad drugs and stuff like that. But
super facts.
None of the marijuana smokers that I ever seen, they was like regular people, if anything, they just like to smoke.
Now, I totally agree with you on that one. So I want to kind of go over marijuana, people that haven't been too familiar with it, right? So marijuana or cannabis, you call it weed, pod, cannabis, broccoli, the J, the chronic, the skunk, the ganja, the reefer, the dope, and a million other names. My favorite is Mary Jane, though. It's a great show on BT. You heard that? Being Mary Jane on BT? That's my show right there. Shout out to Gabby. Shout out to Gabby Union. Yo, so marijuana or cannabis contains mind-altering or psychoactive compounds like THC, right? As well as cannabidiol, which is CBD. That is a mind-altering. That's mostly used for treatments for a number of conditions, which is the focus of this episode. Now, there's mad ways to use marijuana. Each one affects the users differently. It can be rolled up, smoked like a joint, a blunt, rolling papers. Shout out to Wiz Khalifa. Pipe, edibles, anything like that. Smoking oils, concentrates, extracts, also known as dabbing. Talking about dabbing, like smoking. So we all know you can have fun with marijuana, right? But what I want to know is marijuana medicine? So more states are making it legal to use marijuana as medicine for certain conditions. But there's not enough research, and the FDA doesn't recognize or approve marijuana as medicine. And since marijuana is often smoked, it can damage your lungs and your cardiovascular system, like your heart and your blood vessels. So, I mean, is it more harmful than helpful as a medicine? Now, as a medicine, people don't really smoke it as a medicine, so that's not really a fair question to ask. Another problem with marijuana as a medicine is that the ingredients aren't exactly the same from plant to plant, right? So there's no way for us to actually know what kind, I guess, right? And how much you're actually getting. There's no formal regulation. Yeah. So there's two main types of cannabis. There's indica and sativa. Now, indica is really used for deep body relaxation. And sativa is more if you get more of an energizing experience. I don't need any more of that. I need more of the indica. I need more relaxation in my life. The main side effects for marijuana use is dry mouth. You get fatigue. That's where you get that stuck feeling, right? And at higher dosage, you get dizziness, you get paranoia, you get other psychoactive effects like mood changes. And there's actually a growing concern for an increased risk of schizophrenia and loss of IQ. But that's with the adolescent brain because they haven't fully developed yet. And also it's with long-term use. So I don't think people are really going to be, in danger of that if they don't use it on a long-term basis. Everybody's heard about the two main ingredients, right? We got THC, we got CBD, and medical marijuana is focused more on the CBD part. Now, CBD doesn't make you high because it acts on different parts of the nervous system than THC does. Now, like I mentioned before, with cannabis indica, you heard about that before? Indica and sativa?
Yeah, I heard of it. I just only know about like certain strains. Like, I know some people that know more than me.
Yeah, but it's so many strains though. Like it's not a weed podcast. Yeah. It's kind of an overview of it. Yeah. But you can go real deep into this. I mean, there's like a million strains, Like marijuana comes from, like it originated in, I think, Southeast Asia, I believe. But now it's all over the place, right? You got it in Cali, all over the world. People grow it.
Especially
Mexico. I mean,
I think marijuana is actually like a Spanish word.
You seen Narcos Mexico?
Yeah.
That's lit. That's just lit. So we got cannabis indica. That's a medicine produced from cannabis indica, have higher CBD and lower THC. You have more for increased mental relaxation. You have muscle relaxation. You got decreased nausea, decreased acute pain. It increases your appetite, actually. And also increases your dopamine, which is the neurotransmitter that controls the brain's reward and pleasure centers. And is the best for nighttime use. So indica, think relaxation, think nighttime use. Cannabis sativa, they're the opposite. They have lower CBD and higher THC, right? The major qualities of sativas are anti-anxiety, antidepressant. It treats chronic pain, increases focus and creativity, and increases serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter involved in a regulation of learning, mood, sleep, anxiety, and appetite. And that's best for daytime use. So indica, relaxation, nighttime use. Sativa, daytime use, energy. Now, based on what you heard, which of the two would you find yourself using more?
Well, sidebar, I don't do either one. I wouldn't. But I mean, I guess like whichever one they said helped like people with like anxiety more, because I know most people that I do know that do smoke weed, they use it to like calm down.
Okay, bet. That's true.
Like a calming factor, whatever. And like I know some people they like to get high, but some like most people I know, it's like man,
it's more for like relaxing,
day,
right?
I'm trying to relax, I'm trying to chill, or especially like when they on vacation and stuff like that. That's usually the one, right? That'll probably be the one.
Oh, bet. So that'd be more sativa then. Yeah, me, honestly, I use both of them. Because certain times I want to be relaxed, and other times I want to, have anti-anxiety qualities. So it depends. So I want a hybrid then, I guess.
I'm pretty sure they got hybrids.
They got hybrids too, right? So you can see like each plant does have this health benefits to it, right? Now, a lot of people that I've talked to before, they've heard of dispensaries, but they don't know like there's actually a difference between a medical dispensary and a recreational or quote unquote adult use dispensary. Have you heard about that before?
Yeah.
Right?
I have. Especially like when I went to Cali when I was in LA last year.
Oh, bad. So if you're in Cali, you'd be more exposed to that. Yeah. But like, yeah, a lot of people don't know that because they think there's just one dispensary. But no, there's two different ones. So for a medical dispensary, the inside looks similar to a doctor's office. And you get information about which marijuana strains helps with your particular condition. Now, you got to be 18 and older with a doctor's recommendation, and you need to register with the dispensary. And there's going to be like a waiting room, and most times your purchases are tracked by the dispensary, to reference and follow up.
Yeah.
That's more for medical dispensary side. Now, if you got recreational, it's becoming more legalized, recreationally all over America, right? That's less formal, less documentation needed. This one, you got to be 21 with a valid state ID, and it's more online, more for line than a waiting room, right? So you can look at menus while you wait. I want this, I want that. It's more of a grab and go kind of environment than medical, where you can spend one-on-one time with a bud tender, to candidly kind of discuss your medical issues. So that's the difference between a recreational dispensary and a medical marijuana dispensary. And I'm seeing a lot more dispensaries pop up. Like, you're not familiar with this area, right? Downtown Baltimore. I know about your area is more like the Towson area. But over here, it's way more dispensaries popping up. Like, if you're not sure if they're a medical or recreational dispensary, you can just go in and ask the people there. So I've been to a couple like near where I live, and the buildings didn't clearly state like whether it's medical or recreational, especially downtown, because there's 2 new shops pretty much right across the street from each other that open up like the last couple of years. And I'm sure there'll be a lot more opening up around the city and statewide because, marijuana, as we all know, is becoming big business, right? A lot of people will swear by marijuana and its health benefits because they have personal experience. Now, people that have used it use it for Alzheimer's disease, appetite loss, cancer, Crohn's disease, eating disorders such as anorexia. We got epilepsy, glaucoma. But mostly people use it for, cancer pain, like nausea and pain, and for anxiety and depression, right? Those are the biggest reasons people use marijuana as a treatment. And what I recently found too, actually like a couple of days ago, was that weed can actually inhibit or stop the growth of colon cancer cells, which is big news because it's one of the most common cancers in the U.S. They just found that out. I think University of Penn found that out recently. Yeah, UPenn just found that out. So that's major right there. Personal use. You say you don't use it, right? But you say people use it for anxiety and depression and pain.
That's pretty much the only usage that I've seen. Like, I've heard about the medicinal.
Yeah, and we know people. Like, we're not gonna mention names, but homeboy.
Everybody I know that use it pretty much using it for recreational usages, man. So
yeah,
I don't see a problem with that.
I don't see a problem with it either, honestly. And like marijuana, you gotta be careful too, though, because marijuana can be laced with a bunch of other things.
Oh man,
yeah,
I've seen.
Have you seen that before at the parties?
I haven't like seen anybody like actually lace it or something like that, but I've actually seen like the effects of people that have smoked laced marijuana. That's why they always say you can't smoke with everybody.
You gotta have that one dealer you can trust to go to each time, because you can be like laced with LSD, Molly, cocaine. I mean, a lot of stuff. You gotta be careful where you get your marijuana from if you do indulge in the devil's dreams. But alcohol and weed is the most common. Then people use marijuana and alcohol together, and it's called being crossfaded. You heard that before? Crossfaded?
Crossfaded.
Yeah, you get like marijuana high and alcohol, and you get crossfaded.
Man,
now that's a lot.
Plenty of times, man.
You've seen it plenty of times over at the school, right?
Yeah, wherever. You still see it. I've probably seen it over the weekend when I was just out in DC.
Facts. If you want like a good site to look at, different strains of marijuana, go to the site called Leafly, LEAFLY.com. And they have like all types of information on like all the different weed strains and what's best for whatever you're feeling. But also, got to consult with a doctor too, but that's like a good starting point. Now you have different strains of marijuana, but you also have different ways people use marijuana. So you got like Keef. It's a powder. It's made from the cannabis plant leaves. You heard that before? Keef?
Keef, I have.
KIEF. What about hashish? You heard that before?
I heard of hashish. I actually, back in like elementary school, we had to take health class, and I remember somebody taking like their drug that they had to report on was like hashish. All of that, man.
That's more like that's more like a Middle Eastern kind of thing too. They use it a lot in that kind of culture, right?
That was, I think,
with the hookah and stuff.
They said with hookah, especially.
Yeah, right. Facts. You got the edibles. We all know about edibles, right? So edibles, this is very interesting, right? Cannabinoids, right, are fast soluble in hydrophobic oils, right? So that means that they dissolve in oils and butters and fats and alcohol, but not water. So that's how you can have cannabis oil, butter, and liquor, which is just the plant being infused in those things, but it doesn't dissolve in water. So if you put like marijuana leaves in water, you're not gonna get any kind of effects. You have the cannabis spray, which is the pump that sprays cannabis-infused alcohol under the tongue.
Right.
You have the cannabis topicals, which is applied to the skin. That's just a CBD combined with a cream to help with allergic skin reactions, right? Or like pain, muscle strain, inflammation, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then you got the pharmaceuticals, which is more kind of my field, right? This is more like standardized in like the dose and formulation. That means you know exactly what and how much you're going to get with each pill or spray. Now, these ones you go to your doctor to get prescribed for. And the two we have in the market today are dronabinol, or the brand name is Marinol. And that's used to treat nausea and vomiting caused by chemotherapy and loss of appetite and weight loss in people who have AIDS. And you have Sativex, Sativex, which is used in other countries, not the U.S. It's like a spray you spray into your mouth to help with the symptoms of multiple sclerosis and cancer, including pain and overactive bladder. So that's just some different formulations of marijuana people may not have heard about. I want to just mention real quick. So, all right, yo, let's go this. Let's do true versus rumor. You ready?
Let's go.
Oh, man. All right. So let's start with this one. Let me start with this first, actually. There's no evidence that marijuana is a gateway drug, first off. You can't overdose on that. And if you don't get high the first time, you probably ain't still doing it right. Probably didn't smoke that joint right, okay? That's a fact. First question. Does marijuana kill brain cells?
Truth versus... Hey, I don't know. I don't think it does.
Carlton, you are correct.
Okay.
So after many decades of back and forth studies, recent University of Louisville research has determined that marijuana use does not kill off brain cells.
Okay.
All right. Carlton, you can get high from eating raw weed?
From eating raw weed?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that's true.
Carlton, you are the father now. You're false, man. The answer is no.
Definitely better be false on that one.
The answer is no. Marijuana has to be heated and combined with a fatty substance. Like I mentioned before, right? The butters and the oils and stuff. And then you have to have it eaten to have any effects.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can't get high from any raw weed.
So if they ate weed on accident, it'd probably be a waste of weed or something.
Exactly. Facts. Big facts. Weed with sex? Is that good?
I've heard stories. I've heard stories. I probably know a few women that I might have come across here and there that actually prefer like high sex. Hey.
Weed with sex? Well, in this regard, I must say in this regard. So some people think that weed makes you like antisocial, right? You can't really talk to the opposite sex and just bad in bed. But Canadian researchers found that participants who had sex while, stoned and high or whatever, reported it as more enjoyable than regular sex. Yeah. But some studies have shown that some men might have some trouble rising to the occasion after smoking too much. All right? Okay. Get that limp dick because of that marijuana.
Messing around. know your strains. Know your weeds.
Exactly. Yo, marijuana is addictive?
I don't think that it's physically addictive. If anything, I think it's mentally. Like people just feel like they always want to smoke if anything. But I don't think that's like nicotine or nothing like that. I don't think it's addictive in that way.
Carlton, I agree with you on that one. Okay. Because that one is kind of controversial, right? Yeah. Many of us know somebody that smokes weed all the time. Yeah. So you would think that, they needed a function. Yeah. But there's no real proof that it's addictive. It's more for like dependency, right? Like you said, a mental attachment to the drug.
Attachment to it, man.
Like people can get addicted to anything, right?
Yeah, you can
chocolate, skydiving.
Whatever.
Like, listen to this podcast every month. Just depends.
You can listen to that too, man.
Got to subscribe too. Sure. Smoking weed is worse than cigarettes?
Absolutely not.
Why you say that?
I really personally don't think that there's much that's worse than cigarettes. Like I know it's stuff, but the addicting qualities of nicotine, man, good Lord.
Why? Because of the commercials, the truth commercials you saw?
I mean, even those, like I've seen those before, but like, when I took health classes and stuff, whether it was like, high school, college, or whatever, elementary school, we always had to have a whole segment on drugs. And I've never heard anything good about cigarettes. And then you see how much money the cigarette industry makes just off people being addicted to nicotine and stuff like.
Oh, wait, you saying like it's more of like how much the money that Big Tobacco's making off it, that's why it's bad? Or is it more?
I mean, nah. Just for, it's already bad regardless.
Yeah.
Because it's that bad, they figure like, it's that bad because of its addicting quality. So they like, we can make a whole lot of money if we can just tell people that this is legal and it's okay to do this, then people gonna get addicted and we just make a whole lot of money.
Facts. That's facts.
That's the pharma industry.
So Carlton, you are correct. That is false because a large-scale national study, right, showed that smoke from marijuana or Mary Jane was less harmful than all the chemicals you find in your average cigarette. So not only that, right? Yeah.
Probably by a long shot, too.
By a long shot, yeah, right? Not only that, but an average cigarette smoker can, likely smoke a pack a day, right? But a pot smoker ain't gonna smoke 20 blunts a day, my guy. That's not happening. Well, unless you're Snoop or Wiz Khalifa. Right. Unless you're one of those guys, you can smoke all that. But other than that, you're not finding somebody smoking 20 freaking blunts a day. That's just wild. Marijuana impacts your memories. What do you think about that?
I kind of want to say it's true. Either, all right, if it's not true, I want to say it's true just because I've seen like weed smokers, like, I don't know if they were just so focused on the weed that started to forget stuff or they act a little dizzy. It could just be them though. It might not be the weed.
That's true though. That is true. That's a good point. That's a good point.
I don't know, man.
That's a very good point. Now, okay, Carlton, you are wrong on that one.
Okay, yeah.
So it's false. So now marijuana can alter your short-term memory, right? Yeah. But it doesn't affect your existing memories.
Exactly.
So, right, it doesn't cause any long-term memory loss or diseases like dementia or Alzheimer's. Yeah. But short-term memory, I mean, if you tell me something right now and I'm high, I'm probably not going to remember that.
It mess around.
Like, I'm not going to remember. I'm sorry. So, hey, it's having the munchies and laughing all the time. It's like a real thing when you smoke up.
I have heard of weed increasing appetite. I've even seen like some people like we said, like some cancer patients when they smoking the weed and they do it to get the appetite. So I'm gonna have to say that one's probably true.
Carlton, it's kind of iffy on that one though. It's kind of iffy.
Okay.
It's not. So it's not really. Yeah. So there's like some actual science behind both claims, right? So studies have shown that marijuana increases senses like taste and scent. It literally makes food taste better. But as far as laughing at everything, marijuana can elevate your perception and at the same time cause you to be hella confused, right? So researchers believe that leads to a happier mood. Right. You know, like ignorance is bliss, right?
Right.
So that's the reason why you can have like people laughing all the time when they
don't even know what they laughing at.
Exactly. It's like, forget it. Okay, wait. This is a good one though. Weed stays in your system for 30 days?
I think that one is true. If it's not 30 days, it's something long like that. I know with some other drugs I've heard of, they can be out of your system in as low as 24 hours. But like, man, quick fun fact too, you know, and not to throw anybody out there because I won't say any names, you know, but like I said, when I said earlier that I have never smoked before in life, I wasn't lying when I said that. So, you know, I have actually taken like a few drug tests for people, like a couple piss tests here and there for some people. Because, you know,
you're a good man.
Gotta be a good man. You know, what do I look like letting the man in the system hold somebody back because they want to smoke a little weed? Go out there and get that job. I got you, man.
So all my potheads that have jobs that require drug tests or you're applying for a job that requires one, I need you to pay close attention. All right. Actually, let me ask you a question. Do you think there's still like a bias towards people that smoke weed, but, you know, like also happen to have jobs than those that are non-users? Because like society is like embracing, right, weed smokers, or at least becoming more sympathetic towards like marijuana users than ever before. But I don't think that necessarily like translates to the workplace. Like, you know, money and business are a different ballgame, right? Because there's a study. The reason I asked that, because I was looking at stuff up on like marijuana and stuff and like, you know, jobs. And there was a study that took place involving thousands of people who had jobs or were actively seeking work. And it took part in a nationwide survey. And what they found, I mean, it wasn't really a surprise to me because basically marijuana users were more likely to be fired or laid off and were 50% more likely to lose their jobs than non-users.
Yes.
And race or ethnicity did not affect the association between marijuana use and risk of job loss. So, but income did have a significant effect according to the report. So that's something to keep in mind. Society is embracing it, but the workplace is definitely not embracing people that use marijuana. But overall, though, marijuana use was linked to an increased risk of job loss among both the highest and lowest income earners, right? So, but among like weekly marijuana users, those with higher incomes were less likely to lose their jobs than those with lower incomes.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, that's affecting the poor communities. So, but anyways, the breakdown's like this, right? So a one-time user should be clear from marijuana in a matter of days, right? A weekly smoker takes a couple of weeks tops. For a daily smoker, it could be up to a month or more. It depends on the level of fat on your body. So as well as factors like metabolism, you know, because THC, right? One of the ingredients, THC and CBD. So THC is stored in fat. So exercising can actually help with that. But just sweating doesn't actually help. So, you know, if you sit in the sauna and you sweat, that doesn't help at all. You have to actually exercise. So that sauna ain't gonna help, buddy. You gotta run them miles. We gotta work for that.
Gotta burn that off.
Facts. Oh, another interesting one. Hey, what do you think about this, Carlton? Weed can turn straight people gay. Think about that.
That is absolutely false.
Really?
It has to be.
Really?
It has to be.
Carlton, you are correct.
You got to blame that on the weed. That's not the weed, right?
So this is wild, though, because a few years ago, right, there were stories out there that said marijuana could make straight people unstraight. So that's all BS. But there's no official study on that yet. We just lowers your inhibitions, which causes people to act out on impulses that they may not do under normal circumstances. So I just think weed sometimes just reveals your true self, right? So if one of you at a party, you couple somebody, don't blame it on the reefer, buddy.
Yeah,
it's not on the weed. It's not like,
It's not like alcohol, but you might not even remember what in the words you did.
That's true too. Yeah, weed, I mean, you definitely know what's going on.
Yeah.
You might just be in a goofy state, but yeah, that's different though. So don't blame it on the weed, guys. Hey, will weed make you sterile, you think?
Will it make you sterile? I don't think it makes you sterile.
Carlton, you are correct. Yeah. It's recently been somewhat proven false, right? So people used to think that smoking marijuana frequently could leave you with abnormal sperm. Basically, like you have less sperm than somebody who doesn't smoke on a regular basis. But now, brace yourself. We actually have some proof that suggests it's actually not true. So it's a recent study a couple weeks ago that was published from Harvard. Did a study with MGH, Mass General Hospital, that ran from 2000 to 2017. And they took blood and semen samples from hundreds of men that used marijuana and those that didn't. Now, they found out that men who used marijuana had a higher sperm count than those that never sparked a blunt. Okay. But more research is still needed, though, because that's not really fair. Because think about this. Because one of the things the researchers pointed out was that the results from the research could represent reverse causation. Now, what that means is that the men with higher testosterone levels are more likely to use or try marijuana because they're more willing to take risk, right? Okay. And men with higher testosterone levels also tend to have higher sperm counts. So more research is needed to be done with that one. But I'll say, yeah, light up, fellas. Your lady will thank you. So, all right. So, like, I'm Nigerian, right, Carlton?
Okay.
Right? So we all have, like, cultural differences with, like, how your family looks at, you know, if you're smoking, marijuana, alcohol use. How does your family look at it? Because my parents always told me, that's the number one thing. Like, my dad, I can hear my dad right now, like, my family doesn't smoke marijuana. We don't smoke. None of that stuff. Like, culturally, like, that'll be something like you have to look out for. Okay? Everybody's different than, like, an American culture where it's like, whatever. But if you come from, like, you know, a different background, like Nigeria or whatever the case may be, like, your family kind of ingrains that in you. Like, we don't do this, we don't do that. I don't know if you can speak to that.
Yeah, I don't think it's that much different in American culture. It's not that much different, you know, because I know that
Chicago too. I don't know.
Yeah,
if that's like...
in Chicago, even being in Chicago, learning about some people like from other places in the country too. It's like similar stories, but I think that's a generational thing because like people like our parents' age, grandparents' age, and stuff like that. They really come from the era where it was like banged into their head how terrible marijuana was and stuff like that about it. All the negative stuff we know about marijuana. Yeah. So they're the generation that really, really, really was like, you know, they're the ones that learned that growing up. So immediately, us being raised by them, they like, oh, you know, marijuana is bad, weed is bad, it's this and it's that, and it's gonna lower your brain cells and all this other extra crap. So
when do you think that like change came where it's like, oh, they was looking at really bad, then it was like a flip, now it's more like being, you know, accepted in society now?
Yeah. I think that might have came in like the 80s or something like that. So from an American POV, how I figured that happened was when they started like the war on drugs. Because before then, like, you know, like you said, it was hippies and stuff back in the day. They did it like recreationally. And then it was almost like America was like against them. So by being against them, they found every negative connotation that they can attach to marijuana, and then they added it. So, and then, you know, just by research POV, like around that time, you know, people were using it, and it was almost like it was a new thing. So you need some time to go past before you can actually have enough research, like, you know, just standard wise. And then they was just like, oh, you know, what we've seen from studying weed for 20 years or something, it does this bad thing and this bad thing or whatever. Then a lot of those people was like, oh, you know, I'm never smoking weed again. I'm never telling my kids to do it. I'm whatever. And next thing you know, we got this negative connotation for decades until people around our age start to disprove all of it. Yeah,
that's true. And I think also it helps it too. It's like more research too with it. People are finding that medical marijuana is, I think the biggest reason, honestly, is medical marijuana. What do you like? You know, the stigma behind marijuana is really being lessened because of medical marijuana and how it's proven to like help people treat different conditions and stuff. So I think that you made a good point. Yeah. So I kind of want to ask this question. Should retail pharmacies like, you know, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Like, should they be allowed to dispense weed and not just dispensaries and hospitals and stuff? Now, I ask that because of this, right? This new drug called Epidiolex, right?
Right.
Used to treat epilepsy, seizure, and it's derived from cannabis, right? Epidiolex, right, is the first FDA-approved plant-derived cannabinoid medicine, right?
Right.
So it was approved last June. So now you may be wondering, like, wait, isn't there already dronabinol I mentioned before? Like, the difference is dronabinol doesn't have CBD, just a synthetic form of THC, right? A synthetic form of THC. So is Big Pharma acknowledging really like what the majority of society as a whole believes, which is that cannabis, in particular CBD, does have health benefits? Because Walgreens, CVS, and Walmart haven't said whether or not they would sell it. But Rite Aid said that they would sell it once the DEA schedules it, and it was recently scheduled as a Schedule 5 drug.
Right.
Now, the reason I bring that up is that this will be the first time a drug that's naturally made from cannabis would be sold in a retail pharmacy rather than from a dispensary. And that could be the start of a cannabis-based drugs being sold from big pharma companies end up in the pharmacy. You know, that'd be a huge change with everything going on now. Now it'll affect dispensaries as well, too. That's just thinking ahead.
Yeah.
You think like that'd be a good thing for pharmacies to sell like derived marijuana medications?
I think it would. I think it would because like you said, it's more natural based and all of that too. And that you can't ignore the health benefits, man. Yeah, you can't ignore the health benefits. And then I think that because it's natural based too, though, more people will be willing to take it. Like you know, because I know a lot of people. You know, they got so many different drugs that you could take for so many different things. So I know usually when people when they get prescribed something, they might be like, you know, I might not feel too comfortable taking that because I did some research on it. Do you got anything else or whatever? And then I think that might actually help people. It might help people more than they think it'll hurt.
Now saying that though, should it be mandatory for pharmacists to sell marijuana? Like, do they have to? It becomes a federal law? Because I mentioned that because there are, you know, this news out there that a lot of, you know, pharmacies or pharmacists won't dispense what you call like an abortion pill because of their personal religious reasons. Oh, yeah. Remember that story about the baker that didn't want to make the cake for the gay wedding because of his religious belief, and that was upheld. He didn't have to make the cake. So it's similar to that, right? It's similar to that. So it's called like a conscience clause, right? So that could be like, it could be a big debate about that. Some pharmacies that, you know, some pharmacists that look at marijuana and they have their own personal religious beliefs about it. And somebody comes into their pharmacy and says, you know, I want to get this. And they said, no, I don't believe in dispensing that. What do you think about that?
Nah, that's a little bit OD because your job as a pharmacist, you know, is to give the people what they need. Like if you get prescribed it, you know, from your doctor or something like that, I don't think a pharmacist should be like, you know, well, I'm not going to give it to you because I just don't personally believe in what. Like I think that's doing too much. I understand like the little clause and all of that, but that should be aside from your job though, because I don't know, man. Like that's kind of what you signed up for. You signed up to help people to do stuff like that. If you go and think like that, then probably shouldn't be doing that job.
Facts. That's facts. I agree with that.
Damn, man.
I definitely agree with that. So I mentioned like medical dispensaries earlier, right? So let's get into like some states that actually have, you know, recreational marijuana legalized. Yeah. So California, Alaska, and Vermont, it's legal for adults 21 and over to possess up to 1 ounce, and it's legal to grow up to 6 plants per household. In Colorado, it's legal for adults 21 and over to possess up to 1 ounce of marijuana and legal to grow up to 6 plants per household. But shout out to Colorado being the first state because $1 billion how much Colorado dispensaries made last year.
Wow.
So what does that mean? That means that's $150 million in tax dollars that go towards schools, public programs, and the elderly, right? Along with nearly 16,000 new jobs created so far. So it's a big part of Colorado's economy. There's no spikes in crime. There's no difference in teenage use of the drug than in states where the drug is actually prohibited. So you got to look into that. DC, it's legal for adults 21 and over to possess up to 2 ounces, and it's legal to grow up to 6 plants per household. In Maine, same thing. In Massachusetts, my home state, it's legal for adults 21 and over to possess up to 1 ounce, and it's legal to grow up to 6 plants per household, which is also the same as Nevada. Michigan is not yet the law yet, but it's going to be the same thing as far as 21 and over to possess it, and legal to grow up to 12 plants per household. So Michigan, they up in the ante on the growing. In Oregon and Washington State, also legal for 21 and over to possess up to 1 ounce. But in Washington State, though, it is illegal to grow plants. So you can't, that's the only state here where it's legalized, where you cannot grow plants in your household. So Washington State, you cannot grow plants. So along with those 10 states, there are 23 total states where medical marijuana is legal. So check your local listings for that. Yo, talk about Maryland a little bit. So you guys know I currently live in Maryland, right? And just recently, Maryland's Baltimore's, I guess, state's attorney, Marilyn Mosby. You know, you heard about her? Marilyn Mosby, right?
Yeah. Marilyn Mosby, everybody know her.
Everybody know her, right? So she announced that she's no longer going to prosecute marijuana possession cases, regardless of the amount or a person's prior criminal record. And that's legit.
That's super legit.
Right. So if that name sounds familiar to you guys, you may have first heard about her when she made national news when she was held that press conference stating that she would prosecute the officers involved in Freddie Gray, right? Wrongful death. Remember that press conference? That's what made her a national star. So I met her a couple years back, actually, at a Thurgood Marshall event that I was a part of. And she's definitely a nice person, like all good vibes. So she's real cool. So basically she stated that this will improve police-community relations and allow the city to dedicate more time and resources to fighting, violent crimes, because we live in crime city. So there you go. So big props to Marilyn Mosby for that. I know your favorite thing you want to talk about is Big Pharma and the government. And you're talking about they legalizing marijuana for the wrong reasons, huh?
Yeah, man. It's
conspiracy theorists. Conspiracy theorists over here. What's the reason?
I was waiting for, man. I know, like we said about the Marilyn Mosby thing, man.
Yeah.
That was that right there. Like, you know how I feel about how the system is against us anyway, man. So that right there, I know too many people that done got like drug offenses off having weed or smoking weed and all that. We already know how unnecessary that is.
Yeah.
Especially if we in a situation now where people are making money like legally. And they making money, like you just said, about what's happening in Colorado and in Denver and all of that over there. And they got people making so much money legally, but it's people that were trying to do the same thing on a smaller scale or even a larger scale, and they get locked up for it. So part of the reason why I felt like, even them trying to make stuff legal and doing it for the wrong reasons is because they trying to make more money off of it. They were trying to keep people away from making money. So now they trying to make money off of it. But it's a slow transition into legalizing it because I feel like they still want to try to use it in some ways to lock people up, because we already know how that system goes. And then also I've heard some stories about some of the legal weed that they allow you to get not really being that safe as they might think. Like I've seen like some people were saying it was certain strain. It was a situation in New York. I can't don't quote me exactly on it, but I believe it was like sometime last year. And people were like smoking and they was getting sick and they was being real delusional and like passing out and stuff. And they traced where they got their weed, and it was from like some legal spot that some people had got it from, or I don't know. But
yeah,
stuff like that happens too. And it's even been some cases like that in Colorado too. So it's like, man, even that being the case, it's like, because we know, like we were just saying with the research that people done about weed, you can't really find that much negative stuff about it. And the way that the industry goes is if you know a way that you can dose something, that means that there's a way that you can overdose something too. So they gotta try to find some kind of way to make it a bad thing too, just so they can keep a handle on it to make certain money off of it. And man, I don't know.
That's true. That's a good point. I found out like in the Washington Post, I was reading earlier, whatever, why Big Pharma has been so reluctant to get into the marijuana industry. Yeah. There's a chart that really broke it down. Why Big Pharma is saying no to the ganja all these years, right? So there's more research and information now showing that the abuse of painkillers and overdose are lower in states with medical marijuana is available. So think about that. So people in pain patients will choose pot over prescription narcotics.
Okay.
Right? That's always been the assumption, but now there's actually proof of that. There's a new study that actually proved that. So I think like where medical marijuana is legal, the chart shows a big decrease in drugs prescribed for pain, anxiety, nausea, seizures, psychosis, sleep disorders, and depression. These are all conditions that medical marijuana is used for, So right. that's really like, yeah, it's all about a do-re-mi, man, like you mentioned.
Yeah, man.
So that's the main reason why Big Pharma lobbies to prevent marijuana from being rescheduled, because right now it's a Schedule 1, right?
Yeah.
If it gets scheduled, it'll be a Schedule 3. Which makes sense because Schedule 1 means it's illegal unless people can do research on it. Right. But if it was rescheduled, then anyone can do research on cannabis, which means more results and more data like that they don't want to be out there. So there you go. So and just to bring the criminal element into this argument, right? So if you watch the recent season of Narcos Mexico on Netflix, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to you. It's a great season, by the way. You watched that? Narcos Mexico?
Definitely watched it.
Litty.
Definitely watched it.
Litty. So the Washington Post estimates that drug cartels could lose billions of dollars if pot becomes legalized in the U.S. And for a lot, that's half of their revenue. So that would have a trickle-down effect in the black market. It'd be just chaos. So there's also criminal elements to this as well, too. So a lot of people are going to be standing to lose money from this.
Man.
And a Big Pharma is just a big cartel. So that's really like the main thing. So I agree with your conspiracy theory over there. It's not really a conspiracy, but it's proof now.
It's proof now.
It's proof. So there you go. There. And also, I think the opiate epidemic is another big reason why Big Pharma is becoming more open to marijuana too, right? Because the two are kind of linked too.
Man.
So, they know it's coming down the pipeline. They can't stop it, you know? You can't beat them. There you go. So, and another documentary I watched on Netflix that's really good if you want to get more information on the marijuana industry and all that good stuff. The Legend of 420 and Rolling Papers, I would say are good if you want to learn more about it. Yo, Carlton, man, that was fun, man. It's been real. That was a good time.
Listen, man. this is all experience, man. Stuff I done seen out here.
Seeing growing up in Chicago and Baltimore. You live in some crime-ridden cities, my friend.
Man, I done seen a lot. The crazy thing is, as much stuff as you done seen, I mean, you done seen the weed there, but not in the negative ways like they try to make it seem.
Yeah, facts. So if you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and like and follow my Facebook page, which is Drug E Nation, DRUG-E Nation. The link is in my IG bio. Just search for my name, Emmanuel, EMMANUEL _Waghiren, WOGHIREN. And then follow me. Maybe I'll start posting some exclusive content on there as well. Share with your friends and family. Also, let me know what you want to hear me and my guests talk about. You can easily message me on Facebook. My Facebook page will make it happen. I want to say thanks for listening. It's only going to get better. Last episode, I talked about Kratom and now marijuana, so which one poses the biggest threat to the big pharma? Is it Kratom or marijuana? I don't know. Something to think about. Also, please leave a comment and subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And my episodes are available anywhere you get your podcast fixed. So go and check it out. And also check out my Small Doses series where I give a quick rundown on relevant topics. Each episode is about 10 to 15 minutes. And my second one is about allergy season and Mexico. All right? Anything you want to say, Carlton? Shout out to you.
Oh, yeah, man. Look, man, just, first of all, shout out to the show.
Yo, you already know.
Even featuring me.
You already know. You're more than welcome, bro. You're more than welcome.
Catch me on In The Mix Radio too, man. 1500radio.net.
Okay.
/ In The Mix. You catch me on there Wednesdays, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern, or follow me anywhere else. Carlton You Dig. That's Carlton YADIG.
You already know.
That's everywhere, man. Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, whatever.
Word.
And, shout out to my city, man, Chicago, Illinois. Always got to put the plug.
Yeah, who's better, Jordan or LeBron?
we already know. We know what the real 23 is, man. His birthday was yesterday. That's all I'm saying.
The GOAT. Yo, good luck, Carlton. It's a pleasure you coming through. You already know, bro. And I'm going to end with this, in the wise words of Bob Marley. Love the life you live and live the life you love. And with that, I'll check in with you guys on the next episode. And as always, don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone, all right? I'm out.